Once upon a time, in the bustling city of Lagos, there lived a single mother named Adaobi. She was a hard-working woman who toiled day and night to provide for her young son, Chinedu. Adaobi worked as a secretary at a big company where she met her boss, Mr. Okonkwo. Mr. Okonkwo was a stern man with a heart as cold as ice. He was known throughout the office for his harsh demeanor and unfair treatment of his employees. Unfortunately, Adaobi became the target of his cruelty. Every day, Mr. Okonkwo would assign Adaobi impossible tasks and berate her in front of her colleagues. He would criticize her work, even when she gave her best effort. Adaobi felt like she was walking on eggshells, afraid of Mr. Okonkwo's wrath. Despite the challenges, Adaobi remained determined to provide for her son. Chinedu was her motivation to keep going, and she refused to let Mr. Okonkwo's cruelty break her spirit. One day, as Adaobi was working late to finish a project, Mr. Okonkwo stormed into her office. His face was red with anger as he accused her of making a mistake in the report. "Adaobi, you're incompetent. How many teams do I have to tell you to get it right?" he shouted. Adaobi felt her heart sink as tears welled up in her eyes. She couldn't bear the thought of failing her son because of her boss's cruelty. But just as Mr. Okonkwo was about to unleash another tirade, the door burst open, and a group of her colleagues stood behind her, ready to defend her. "We won't stand for this anymore, Mr. Okonkwo," one of them exclaimed. "Adaobi works harder than anyone else in this office, and she deserves respect." Mr. Okonkwo was taken aback by the show of support. For the first time, he realized the impact of his actions on Adaobi and the rest of his employees. As the tension in the room subsided, Mr. Okonkwo made a promise to change his ways and treat his employees with the respect they deserved. From that day forward, Adaobi no longer lived in fear of her boss. With the support of her colleagues and her unwavering determination, she continued to thrive in her job and provide for her son. But just when Adaobi thought she had finally found peace, a new challenge arose that threatened to unravel everything she had worked so hard for. One sunny afternoon, as Adaobi was leaving the office to pick up Chinedu from school, she received a phone call from her landlord. He informed her that the rent was due and that if she couldn't pay by the end of the month, she would be evicted. Adaobi's heart sank at the news. She had been barely scraping by with her current salary, and the thought of losing their home filled her with dread. Determined not to let her son down, Adaobi brainstormed ways to come up with the money. She considered taking on a second job, but she knew that would mean sacrificing even more time with Chinedu. As she walked through the bustling streets of Lagos, lost in thought, Adaobi bumped into an old friend from college, Ngozi. Ngozi was now a successful entrepreneur running her own fashion boutique. "Adaobi, it's been ages," Ngozi exclaimed, pulling her into a warm embrace. "How have you been?" Adaobi forced a smile, trying to mask her worries. "I've been okay, Ngozi, just trying to juggle work and taking care of Chinedu." Ngozi noticed the strain in Adaobi's voice and immediately sensed that something was wrong. "Is everything all right, Adaobi? You seem troubled." Adaobi hesitated for a moment before pouring out her heart to her old friend. She told Ngozi about her struggles with Mr. Okonkwo and the looming threat of eviction. Ngozi listened intently, her heart going out to her friend. Without hesitation, she offered Adaobi a lifeline. "Why don't you come work for me at the boutique?" Ngozi suggested. "I could use someone with your organizational skills, and I'll make sure you're paid well." Adaobi's eyes widened in surprise and gratitude. She couldn't believe her luck at stumbling upon such a generous offer. "Thank you, Ngozi. That would be amazing," Adaobi exclaimed, feeling a glimmer of hope rekindle in her heart. With a weight lifted off her shoulders, Adaobi hugged her friend tightly, feeling a sense of relief wash over her. Little did she know that her journey was about to take an unexpected turn, leading her down a path filled with new opportunities and challenges. As Adaobi began her new job at Ngozi's boutique, she found herself thriving in the vibrant atmosphere. The work was fulfilling, and Ngozi proved to be a supportive and understanding boss, a stark contrast to Mr. Okonkwo. With her increased income from the boutique, Adaobi was able to breathe a little easier. She made sure to budget carefully, setting aside money each month to catch up on her overdue rent. As the days turned into weeks, Adaobi's bond with Ngozi grew stronger. They spent their lunch breaks chatting about everything from their college days to their dreams for the future. Adaobi felt grateful to have such a caring friend by her side. Meanwhile, back at the office, Mr. Okonkwo's behavior had taken a turn for the worse. Without Adaobi to target, he began lashing out at other employees, creating a toxic work environment. Despite the chaos at her old job, Adaobi remained focused on her new role at the boutique. She poured her heart and soul into her work, finding joy in helping customers find the perfect outfit for any occasion. One day, as Adaobi was sorting through a rack of dresses, she received an unexpected visitor. It was Chinedu, his face beaming with excitement. "Mama! Mama!" he exclaimed, running into her arms. "I got an A on my math test." Adaobi's heart swelled with pride as she hugged her son tightly. She knew that despite all the challenges they had faced, they were a strong and resilient team. As Adaobi watched Chinedu explore the boutique, trying on different hats and twirling in front of the mirror, she couldn't help but feel hopeful for the future. Little did she know that their journey was far from over and that their bond would be tested in ways she never could have imagined. As Adaobi and Chinedu continued to build their new life together, they encountered a series of unexpected twists and turns. One day, while they were enjoying a rare moment of relaxation at home, Adaobi received a phone call from an unknown number. "Hello," Adaobi answered, curiosity tinged with caution in her voice. "Is this Adaobi?" A deep voice on the other end inquired. "Yes, this is she. Who is this?" Adaobi asked, feeling a knot of apprehension forming in her stomach. "This is Chief Okafor," the voice replied. "I'm calling from Okafor Industries. We received your resume and I'm impressed with your qualifications. We'd like to offer you a position as our new executive assistant." Adaobi's heart skipped a beat at the unexpected job offer. Chief Okafor's company was renowned for its success and prestige, and the opportunity seemed too good to be true. "Thank you so much for considering me, Chief Okafor," Adaobi replied, trying to keep her excitement in check. "I would be honored to accept the position." As Adaobi hung up the phone, she couldn't believe her luck. This new job offer promised not only a higher salary, but also the chance to advance her career in ways she had never imagined. But as she shared the news with Chinedu, a sense of unease lingered in the back of her mind. She couldn't shake the feeling that accepting the job offer would mean leaving behind the stability and camaraderie she had found at Ngozi's boutique. As Adaobi weighed her options, she knew that whatever decision she made would impact not only her own future, but also that of her son. With a deep breath, she resolved to follow her heart and trust that everything would fall into place. Little did she know that her choice would set into motion a chain of events that would test her resilience and courage in ways she never could have imagined. Adaobi embarked on her new journey at Okafor Industries with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The first few weeks were a whirlwind as she adjusted to her role as executive assistant to Chief Okafor. The work was challenging, but Adaobi dove in headfirst, determined to prove herself in her new position. As she settled into her new routine, Adaobi found herself missing the warmth and camaraderie of Ngozi's boutique. She missed the easy banter with her friend and the joy of helping customers find the perfect outfit. Despite the prestige of her new job, Adaobi couldn't shake the feeling of longing for the simpler life she had left behind. Meanwhile, back at the boutique, Ngozi was facing challenges of her own. With Adaobi gone, the workload had increased, and Ngozi struggled to keep up with the demands of running the business on her own. She missed her friend terribly and wished for Adaobi's return. One day, as Adaobi was sifting through a pile of paperwork at her desk, she received an unexpected email from Ngozi. In the email, Ngozi poured out her heart, expressing how much she missed Adaobi's presence at the boutique and how she wished for her to come back. Touched by her friend's words, Adaobi felt a surge of emotion. She realized that despite the allure of her new job, her heart belonged at the boutique with Ngozi and Chinedu. With a sense of determination, Adaobi made a difficult decision. She knew that returning to the boutique would mean sacrificing the prestige and higher salary of her executive assistant position, but she also knew that true happiness lay in following her heart. Gathering her courage, Adaobi approached Chief Okafor and tendered her resignation. Though he was disappointed to see her go, Chief Okafor understood Adaobi's reasons and wished her the best in her future endeavors. With a sense of relief and excitement, Adaobi returned to the boutique, where she was welcomed back with open arms by Ngozi and Chinedu. As she settled back into her old routine, Adaobi knew that she had made the right choice. She may not have the fancy title or the big salary, but she had something far more valuable, a sense of fulfillment and belonging that money could never buy. Little did Adaobi know that her return to the boutique would mark the beginning of a new chapter, filled with love, laughter, and endless possibilities. As Adaobi resumed her role at the boutique, the days seemed to pass in a blur of laughter, hard work, and shared dreams. Together with Ngozi and Chinedu, they formed a tight-knit family, supporting each other through life's ups and downs. As their bond deepened, so did the success of the boutique. With Adaobi's organizational skills and Ngozi's creative flair, they expanded their customer base and gained a reputation as the go-to destination for stylish and unique fashion. Chinedu too flourished in this environment, eagerly helping out around the boutique and charming customers with his infectious smile. Adaobi beamed with pride as she watched her son grow into a confident and compassionate young man. But just when everything seemed to be going perfectly, a shadow from the past resurfaced to threaten their newfound happiness. One afternoon, as Adaobi was sorting through inventory in the back room, she received a letter addressed to her from an unfamiliar sender. With trembling hands, Adaobi opened the letter and felt her heart drop as she read its contents. It was from Mr. Okonkwo, her former boss at the big company where she had worked as a secretary. In the letter, Mr. Okonkwo made veiled threats, warning Adaobi that he hadn't forgotten her and that he would make her regret ever leaving his company. Adaobi's hands shook with anger as she crumpled the letter in her fists. Fearing for her safety and the safety of her loved ones, Adaobi confided in Ngozi about the letter. Together, they decided to take action and seek help from the authorities. As they navigated the legal process, Adaobi couldn't help but feel a sense of unease lingering in the air. She knew that Mr. Okonkwo was a powerful and vindictive man, capable of carrying out his threats. As the days passed, tension hung in the air like a heavy cloud over Adaobi and her loved ones. Despite their efforts to stay strong, the looming threat of Mr. Okonkwo's retaliation weighed heavily on their minds. To protect themselves, Adaobi and Ngozi took extra precautions, installing security cameras around the boutique and ensuring Chinedu was always accompanied by a trusted adult. But despite their best efforts, they couldn't shake the feeling of vulnerability that lingered like a shadow. Meanwhile, Adaobi's legal battle with Mr. Okonkwo dragged on, each court date and legal proceeding adding to the stress and uncertainty. It seemed that no matter how hard they fought, Mr. Okonkwo always found a way to prolong the ordeal, using his wealth and influence to his advantage. As the pressure mounted, Adaobi found solace in the unwavering support of her friends and family. Ngozi stood by her side, offering words of encouragement and strength when she needed them most, and Chinedu, wise beyond his years, remained a beacon of hope and resilience, reminding Adaobi that they were in this together, no matter what. But just when Adaobi thought she couldn't bear the weight of the uncertainty any longer, a ray of hope pierced through the darkness. One evening, as she was closing up the boutique for the night, Adaobi received a phone call from her lawyer. "Adaobi, I have some news," her lawyer said, his voice filled with urgency. "We've made a breakthrough in the case against Mr. Okonkwo. It seems we have uncovered evidence of his illegal activities within the company." Adaobi's heart leaped with hope at the news. Could this be the turning point they had been waiting for? Could justice finally be within reach? As the trial reached its climax, tension hung in the air like a heavy fog, thick with anticipation and uncertainty. Adaobi sat on the edge of her seat, her heart racing as the judge prepared to deliver the final verdict. The courtroom fell silent as the judge cleared his throat, his gaze stern as he addressed the crowded room. Adaobi held her breath, her hands clenched tightly together as she waited for the words that would determine the course of her future. After careful consideration of the evidence presented, the judge began, his voice echoing through the room. "This court finds the defendant, Mr. Okonkwo, guilty of all charges." A wave of relief washed over Adaobi as the words sank in. Justice had been served, and Mr. Okonkwo would finally be held accountable for his actions. Tears of joy welled up in Adaobi's eyes as she felt the weight of the world lift off her shoulders.